So DSA Mayor of New York, Zohran Mamdani, has a plan, but he's only telling us the first half.
And now on to a major announcement from Mayor Zoran Mamdani unveiling plans for New York City's first city-run grocery store in East Harlem, with a goal of having them in all 5 boroughs by the end of his first term. The mayor made the announcement during a speech in Queens, marking his first 100 days in office. Eyewitness News reporter Sonia Rincon has more.
Grocery shopping will no longer be an unsolvable equation.
The first of the mayor's city-operated grocery stores is coming to La Marqueta in East Harlem by the end of next year.
The same market that Fiero LaGuardia opened in 1936. So working people then could save money on fruits and vegetables. We will continue his legacy.
As he continues to try to deliver on affordability promises, Mayor Mamdani made that announcement saying he looks forward to the city stores with lower prices competing with existing ones, where prices have gone up 66% since COVID. The mayor reflecting on his first 100 days.
Not to congratulate ourselves, but as a reminder of what is possible. With what we've accomplished in 14 weeks, imagine what we can do together in 4 years.
So for those of you new here, or maybe just haven't noticed, I record in the day before I go to my second shift job, and I schedule my videos to publish the next morning. So I'm always a little bit behind, but that's okay because I think I've got something to add on this one that I haven't seen spoken on much by most of the reviewers that I've come across, commentators that I've watched talking about this situation. You know, I've seen commentators talk about how obviously Zoran offering groceries at a 30% discount is going to put undue pressure on privately owned competition and will ultimately put them out of business. I have seen commentators talk about how obviously the majority of consumers capable of getting to one of these 5 discounted grocery stores are going to go there in preference over their old privately owned grocery stores. Thus creating a supply chain issue in that there will be too many consumers for the products that they can actually stock within that store. And these are valid points, absolutely valid, correct points that will come to fruition. The thing that I keep seeing though that kind of irks me is the talk of these being unintended consequences. Make no mistake that that's the absolute intended consequence. This isn't about offering New Yorkers cheaper groceries. This is about destroying private industry, private business, private ownership. This is about state controlling every possible aspect of their constituencies' lives. And one of the most reliable control mechanisms that you can possibly have is food, because everyone and everything absolutely needs it. And when you don't have it for long enough, people will do anything to get it. People will sacrifice, they will steal, they will kill to feed their bellies. So if you control a people's food, you control a people. And this is the whole point. The point of these grocery stores is to eliminate those individuals that would try and do for themselves rather than rely upon the state. And this isn't his only control scheme. We've seen the bill passed, the city ordinance passed, that will strip property owners of their property if they don't keep it up to code, maintain it in the way that the city sees fit, demands. And the consequence for this is seizure of property. This is what socialists do. This is what they have always done. This is a tenet of their ideology, to eliminate private ownership of everything. And now Zoran has at least 2 policies, 2 ordinances, laws, programs that will effectively eliminate private ownership of homes and businesses now. These are not unintended consequences. This is the socialist playbook. And, you know, it's so funny because they always like to talk about how they're not fascist, blah, blah, blah. And, you know, I'll admit that collectivist ideologies are such clusterfucks of dissonant ideas that it's hard to really pin any of them down into a pure form of, you know, any of the collectivist ideologies, whether we talk socialism, communism, fascism. But one thing I can say is that using the law to seize property and strip citizens of their rights is much more similar to the way in which Adolf went about taking Germany than the communist revolutions that we saw in Russia or China. That being said, we don't need to call these folks fascists, because socialists should be as dirty of a word as fascism. We need to remember that the main ideological tenet of these people is state control over the people. And they'll paint this as, oh no, it's collective control of the government, which we obviously know is nonsense, because, you know, managerial positions need to be filled. People need to be put in charge of things so that they can run. And they will inevitably put people in charge that seek nothing but power, because the entire purpose of socialism in the eyes of those that truly wish to inflict it upon us is state control over every aspect of human life. So yes, these taxpayer-funded grocery stores will put private grocery stores and bodegas out of business. And yes, once those businesses, those privately owned ones, no longer exist, the 5 grocery stores will not be able to supply the demand that is present in a city of I don't even know how many millions of people. And at that point, they're going to either have to find a way to bring back in private business, or they're going to have to expand the number of tax-funded grocery stores. And the funny thing about that is that, well, how are you really getting a 30% discount when it's your taxes that are funding, propping up these businesses? You know, this is the thing that these people don't get, or rather, they're so short-sighted they can't see that the money not coming directly out of their pocket is still coming out of their pocket just before they ever see it. But I digress. Make no mistake, these are not unintended consequences. This is the purpose of these policies. This is the intended consequence of these policies. They are mechanisms to gain control over the people of New York City, and on a broader spectrum as far as the DSA is concerned. If they should get their way on a national scale, if they should somehow get a socialist into the presidency, somehow should be able to take control of the House and the Senate and Congress, they will, if not outright violently seize control of our property, they will just pass laws that make it impossible for private owners of businesses and homes to survive. And then they will justify that seizure by saying that you're incapable of taking care of it. And then, of course, they won't be able to take care of it, and everything will get worse. So now you know the whole plan and exactly what Zohran intends to accomplish in the next 4 years. You worried yet?